Transformers. They've been a huge part of pop culture since the 1980s, and to this day are still immensely popular. With a dozen movies and countless animated TV series to their name, no one denies they're staples of the entertainment industry. However, one of the best Transformers stories told in the 41 years since their debut is something that most people will never even hear about. The Transformers have always had a place in the world of comic books, with many different publishers including Marvel, IDW, and now Image. But due to comics being a considerably less popular medium than things like movies, television, and gaming, the stories have less of a spread. And that's really the cold truth with any comic book. The freedom that comics have and the countless amount of stories they can bring to the world is incredible, and frankly heartbreaking that it's such a small industry, even after the success of the MCU and other billion-dollar movies that leave the source material in the dust. Transformers as a brand also hasn't been of such high quality that it was once either, with the last two movie installments flopping at the box office, and the fact that the last good Transformers game is over a decade old. A few years ago, IDW lost the rights to produce Transformers comics, which at the time was really the only Transformers media that was even worth picking up to the majority of fans. But a glimmer of hope came when Image announced that there was a brand new Transformers comic series on the way, and a brand new, fresh continuity. This is how Skybound, a sub-company of Image and their masterpiece for Transformers comic series, would change the game. Daniel Warren Johnson, a comic book superstar, would be announced as both writer and artist for this new comic series, and I think that was the best choice they could have gone with. In later issues, Daniel Warren Johnson partners with Jorge Corona, who takes over the art and does an incredible job. Daniel Warren Johnson brings such powerful character writing to this book, with an incredible art style to match the tone. The book takes huge inspiration from the Transformers G1 cartoon, and it feels as though it's almost the same universe at first, before splitting off in a more mature direction. The book introduces Optimus Prime as a true leader, strong enough to be gentle, who has suffered immense losses yet still continues to see the good in the universe. This might be one of, if not my favourite version of Prime in all of Transformers media. He's the Optimus I truly recognise, and the Optimus that I find the most relatable. Too many interpretations of Optimus these days depict him as a killer, a punisher of evil, or a stone-cold, emotionless warrior. Optimus Prime is powerful, yes, one of the most powerful characters in the world of Transformers, but what good is that without his morals? It's the fact that despite his great strength, he is a caring and gentle leader. He isn't a killer. The Optimus I know only uses violence as a last resort. Optimus Prime sees the good in everyone, and you really get to see that throughout the series. Optimus would risk his life to help a fellow Cybertronian, even a Decepticon. He truly cares about the survival of his race and strives for peace amongst it. It's why Optimus Prime in the Bayverse annoyed me so much, as he would hunt down Decepticons and proceed to execute them. Skybound's Prime would offer help and refuge to the Decepticons, giving them a chance of redemption. Optimus sees the good in everyone's spark, and that's what makes him a Prime. This book does what the movies struggled with, which is giving every character a reason to belong. Despite the large cast of Autobots and Decepticons, they all get their own times to shine and everything flows naturally. I love the three main Seekers in this series, that being Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. Despite looking exactly alike with just a retooled color scheme, each of the three are so uniquely different to each other in personality. Starscream is the first Decepticon we get introduced to, and he immediately steals the show. He's a greedy, power-hungry, and needlessly violent character who always keeps the Autobots on their toes. This is one of the rare times I've both actively rooted for a character while at the same time prayed for their downfall. His time before becoming a Decepticon is also explored in this series, and I really like getting to see what turns Starscream into this unpredictable killer. The second Seeker, Thundercracker, might be my favourite. His morals and humanity slipping through his Decepticon demeanour subtly throughout the comic run makes for a great build-up for a potential redemption arc, one that feels both earned and natural so far. It's something that has been hinted at throughout past Transformers media, and finally getting to see this being explored is very exciting for a lot of people, including myself. Skywarp does take a back seat character-wise, at least during this run of the comic, but that doesn't mean he's useless. In fact, he's had a lot more use to the plot than Starscream. After being betrayed by his Decepticon brothers and having his parts used to bring back powered-off Cybertronians, which opened the door for dozens of new characters to be introduced to the cast, you'd think Skywarp would follow in Thundercracker's path and reconsider his place in the Decepticon cause, but much to Optimus Prime's disappointment, he is far too loyal to Megatron and his vision, willing to give up his well-being for it. Each Seeker contrasts so well with each other, and I can't wait to see where else each character goes throughout this continuity. With Daniel Warren Johnson leaving after issue 24, Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead and Invincible, has taken over the book. Joined by one of the most popular artists in comics right now, Dan Mora, Their run is something I'm hopeful continues the humanity and emotions that Daniel Warren Johnson's run has. Loss is something every character deals with in this book. Loss and tragedy. Seeing the Autobots deal with their tragedies and how they approach them is really powerful and undeniably human. Each Autobot has their own unique problems. Despite being huge, powerful alien robots from space, they can be hurt, killed, they grieve. It's obvious many struggle with depression. I mean, their entire planet is a war-torn wasteland. They're stranded on Earth, hunted by Decepticons, and each of them grieve lost friends and family. The death in this book feels real. Too many comics treat death like it's fixable, which results in characters' emotions not being authentic or carrying any weight. Why would you care if Robin died in Batman's arms for the third time if he gets revived in the next issue? Although being Cybertronian, there are ways that a Transformer could hypothetically be revived depending on the conditions of their death, but not always. Death isn't used for shock value either. It's used to give these characters relatable problems and drive the plot forward in brand new interesting ways. Among the casualties in this book, and this is no huge spoiler as it happens within the first few pages of issue 1, is Starscream obliterating a powered down Bumblebee. Daniel explains that his choice to use Cliffjumper over Bumblebee as the small Autobot scout is due to the overuse of the character. Now, personally, I do hope Bumblebee gets revived down the line in this continuity because he is a fan favourite. However, it really did work keeping him dead this far into the book. It cemented Starscream as a cowardly, violent monster and set the tone for the book from the start. It brings Optimus such a heartache, with Bumblebee meaning the world to him. In later issues, Prime even calls B his family and his boy. This clearly affects Prime as a character, as well as drives the narrative further. The humans in this book are actually really great. I find that in many Transformers stories, the human characters often seem forced and badly written. What place could a small tiny creature like a human have amongst these giant metal warriors? Even Transformers Prime, my favourite Transformers show, struggles with writing the human characters in a way that makes it feel like they should even be there. Too many adaptations portray the humans as being placed into the Transformers world, having to adapt amongst them, despite the Transformers being the aliens. In this comic series, we get to see how Transformers adjust to man's world. We get to see them learn from the human characters. The humans don't show up in the big robot battles just to avoid getting squashed, but are placed there organically and make smart decisions in those moments. Yes, the humans in this book are written to have brain cells, and yes, the bar is in hell. But add that to each human having an actual personality and natural presence in the comic, and you can see why I really like these characters compared to the alternatives. There are really great parallels between the humans and the Cybertronians also, with Sparkplug's relationship with his son Spike mirroring that of Optimus and Bumblebee's relationship. For anyone else reading the book, let me know which human is your favourite. Carly is mine so far. She has a big presence for a human character and I find her decently relatable. One more thing I want to talk about is Soundwave. He has had some really great moments in this comic so far, and considering that Soundwave is my all-time favourite Transformers character, I'm really happy. His design is great and his connections with his Transforming cassette tapes is really cute. Rumble and Ravage have shown up the most so far and it's cool to see them establish as Soundwave's children. I'd love to go more in depth on Soundwave in a future video and really explain why I like him so much as a character, so subscribe to the channel so you can watch me yap about that eventually. If you weren't sold already, I don't know what to tell you. I highly recommend reading this series, especially as it's only a few years old and new issues are releasing every month. It's a great starting place for people wanting to get into the expanded lore of Transformers. And with all that said, that's really all I have for you guys today. Please like the video, it helps me out a ton. Every single like is valued by me, especially because I have a smaller channel and want more people to hear about what I have to say. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.